Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
Breaking moments ago, the Wisconsin judge convicted for helping an illegal immigrant evade federal agents has learned her fate. Garrett Tenney here now with what the judge is facing. Hey, Garrett.
Yeah, John, well, this was a landmark case in the fight over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. And this sentence came down no prison time and just a $5,000 fine for former Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan, which is far less than the 5 years behind bars that she was looking at. U.S. District Judge Lynn Edelman explained that prison time was not necessary given Dugan's decades of public service, saying there is no indication the defendant acted for personal or private gain. This isn't like the cases of public corruption. This is a situation where an otherwise good person, upset by immigration enforcement in this country, a sentiment widely shared, made a bad decision in the moment. Ahead of that sentencing, we also heard from Hannah Dugan for the first time since her trial started back in December, and the former Milwaukee judge expressed no remorse for guiding federal agents away from her courtroom and sending the illegal immigrant they were waiting for out a back door. In fact, she told the judge her acts that day were consistent with community concerns at the courthouse, and she said, "I will not let those minutes define my life's work. It is my intent to return to public service." Now, that return to public service could be any number of things, including a possible return to the bench if her defense team is able to get this verdict overturned on appeal, which is what they've said they are now going to try to do. John?
But if they don't, she can't go back to being a judge. We'll see how it goes. Garrett Tenney with the update from Chicago. Garrett, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm back. Good to see you. Good to see you. I am out of the office. I am in upstate New York. I am on the shores of Lake Ontario up here in Watertown, New York, which is a much needed break for this average American, just like all of you that are watching today. We're all just average Americans, and the scale's broken. The justice system's broken, and us average Americans are stuck looking around thinking what to do. At least over the past week, I've seen some people that, I stay in contact with that live in New York, but I don't speak to them, every day or every month, but, speak to them periodically, but I actually got to connect and sit with them and just be around some good friends of mine that have been friends of mine for close to 20 years. And it was good for the soul. It was good just seeing friendly faces and reconnecting, people that you could just pick up with after not seeing them or talking to them for a long time and not skip a beat. Those are my people. Those are my people. And we all live in different worlds. I do this thing now. I got one buddy that's going to be a principal. I got another buddy that does IT work. I got another buddy that's a master builder, basically. We all have different skills, different traits, different backgrounds. And it was great getting together with them and their kids and seeing my kid play with their kids and just seeing a kind of full circle coming of life moment coming together. And in that, it was great to connect, all at the same time, remembering that we're in the middle of things that are not feeling so comfortable at the moment, even though we believe the people that we support are in charge. And, talking to all my buddies, it made me realize that not everyone's tuned in as much as some of you are that are watching, or as much as I am, because, we're in this every day. And a lot of Americans aren't. A lot of Americans are disconnected because they're too busy trying to take care of their family, trying to provide for their family. trying to make sure they have a job, making sure that will be able to retire in the future. And I get all that. I get all that. And then as I continue and I started talking to them more about my job and my new job, this is my first summer in 3 years. This is my family's first time in 3 summers where we weren't stressed about what the hell's gonna happen for work for me because of what happened with Cherry Creek. This is the first summer that we kind of felt normal again. And it was refreshing, and it was nice. And having these moments to connect with my friends and seeing their children grow and listening to what their perspectives are, it just reminded me that a lot of Americans, it's not a lack of they don't care what's happening. They're just disconnected because they're overwhelmed with everything else that's going on in their daily lives to try and keep up, that they just can't devote the time, energy into the political arena. And we were talking, they all agree that socialism is not popular. We all agree Mamdani is not something that most people want. But at the end of the day, they're like, what do you want me to do about it? At the end of the day, they say this is who the winner is. I'm not fighting City Hall. Right. And that's the mentality a lot of Americans have. And I completely understand that. And I'm not judging anybody for that, but it's just the average day American is just so busy. And that's the purpose of the system. The system is built to make you occupy your time, your energy, your efforts all over the place while they slowly steal more and more from you over time. In 2026, life is harder now than it was 30 years ago. People find it harder to find a job, to make money, to make ends meet, to save than it was 30, 40 years ago. And that's done because of what's happened in our country. If you think about our political leaders selling us out to special interests and foreign interests, right? The endless printing of money, the importing of workers. It's just a cascading impact on the American people where we're just feeling the crunch, where you need to make $150,000 to $200,000, family of one person, make $150,000 to $200,000 to live comfortably. And that's not like taking vacation. I'm talking like you own a car, you own a home, and maybe take one or two vacations a year. That's not a lot to ask for, but more and more Americans can't get to that. Or if they need to get to that, they need to relegate more and more time, energy, and effort to accumulate more of that. Right? So it's the never-ending cycle of just hustle, 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 keep busy, where people are not paying attention to what's going on. And I was talking to my buddies, like, guys, it would blow your mind. It will blow your mind, the stuff I have seen now in regards to what's happened to the 2020 election, IDs, fake ballots, all that stuff I have legitimately seen now. And they're like, yo, I don't got time for that. Like, and they sure like, I don't got time for that. And I'm like, I get it, guys, but you got to understand this. Like, listen, what do you want me to do about it? And I'm like, I don't know, but you need to hear this. And they hear me out. But at the end of the day, they're not picking up the torch to fight it. And I'm not mad at them one way or the other. It's the reality that all Americans are just beat down. They're tired, trying to keep up, trying to provide, trusting in the system that has been hijacked from them. And it's a tough reality to get over, to come to that realization that the system that I have been taught to believe in has actually been stolen, and it doesn't actually represent the will of the people. And that becomes a whole other rabbit hole, a whole other chunk that people just aren't willing to digest yet because it's so much. And I completely understand it. And then you see what happens here. A former Wisconsin judge, we played the story when it happened. She gets a $5,000 fine. Right? Completely disregards ICE agents. Nope, we are not arresting this here. We are actually hindering the investigation of law enforcement here because I don't believe it's correct. I don't care if this person had a detainer to go. Makes no difference to me. I am the law here. Poof. Out the back door, you could leave. And then the whole big thing happens. She gets arrested, charged, trial happens. And then what's the grand finale of all this? A $5,000 fine that she laughs at and that her team laughs at and scoffs at. What does that tell you as the average day American? This judge can do whatever the hell she wants. Mind you, for someone that's not in this country legally. Breaking the law, coming to this country, and then you get a federal judge that protects them from being escorted back to the country that they should be at. What's the average American supposed to do? I talk about this with my buddy. One of my buddies was doing security down at the Newark facility when they were protesting and all that. He's not ICE, but what was it? EOR. Man, I can't remember the abbreviation he gave me, but there is no accountability for these people. They go down to the ICE detention facility, they get locked up, and they're released 24 hours later. My buddy's seen the same people he arrested the day before, the next day out right in front of him protesting again at the ICE facility. And he's telling me, Pat, he's like, this whole thing is bullshit. It's all a facade. Everything's fake. They get food busting. They get water busting. They have tents. They have lawyers on standby. He goes, it is all a charade. This is not how it actually works. This is not protesting. This is actually paid agitation. And like, he was breaking it down for me because he's seen a lot of it. He's done a lot. He did some tours in Minneapolis. He's done some in New York. He's been around, when ICE needed the protection, they were doing these deportations. He was providing the perimeters for ICE. And yeah, he's like, dude, it's not real. Like, none of this is real. What we're seeing on TV, what we're seeing with these protests out there, like, they're being funded, they're being propped up, they're being told what to do. And it makes sense. All these people are 20, 30-something year olds, no jobs, no careers, no nothing. They're on standby waiting for the text messages to come in. Hey, righteous anger, report to West 4th and and Hamden, right? Like, whatever. And that's what they do. And it's all a facade. It's all fake put up. It is all fake. And then this judge is trying to be held accountable. And then the ruling is, no, she's a good person. And, she has a great ethics, great history, never $5,000 fine, go about your day. So what's the message being sent to all federal judges right now? Basically, you don't have to cooperate with ICE. You don't have to cooperate with anybody. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, which they've been doing for a long time now. But rulings like this just make it even more apparent that judges are a class above all else. Right. And that's why it's a broken scale. The justice system is broken. Okay. The justice system is broken. It is fundamentally broken, and there is no fixing it. The Judicial Oversight Committee, are they doing anything to actually hold judges accountable, change what's going on the bench? No, they're not. They have hearings. They make these great theatrical plays. Jim Jordan yells at somebody here and there, and then nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happens. They all go back in the back room. Hey, great show today. Hey, that was a great one-liner. We're going to get some play on CNN with that. What you said out there, that's really going to piss people off. That's going to drive the divide further. All while they're in the back room counting off their millions of dollars, figuring out what stock trades they can nail next or how they could work together to enrich themselves, all while robbing us Americans blind, hijacking the courts, the one place that us as Americans should be able to take out grievances to get a fair ruling has been completely taken away from us for the most part. So the average American is just left looking around like, what the hell am I going to do? I'll tell you what they're going to do. They're stocking ammunition, they're taking care of their family, and they're stocking gold and silver. That's what my buddies are doing. No joke. Like, that's what it is. They're like, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to handle my business, and we'll see how all this shakes out. And that's where a lot of Americans are going with their mindset, because they see the corruption and they see no one is doing anything about the corruption because everyone is tied together. Everyone is all in it together. How can no one be arrested from the Epstein files? Let's be honest here. How can not one person be charged from the Epstein files? Because it is all a criminal cartel. They all protect each other. Nothing is ever done for the American people. Even with immigration enforcement, 20 to 30 million in, maybe 2 million out. Net gain of 18 illegal million immigrants into this country, collecting benefits, entitlements, taking up housing, jacking up rent costs, home pricing, also overcrowding in public school systems. Then you have to bring in extra resources for kids that don't speak English. It means the funding for education needs to go up, which means that's all built off of you and me, taxpayer dollars. It's a repetitive cycle that's eventually the bottom's just going to bottom out because no one's doing anything to fix it. Nobody is doing anything to fix it. You had the birthright citizenship case upheld by the Supreme Court a week ago. right? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too, right? Because this is all tied together with the rotted judiciary and how the judges are really just beating down the average American. And the average American knows it. They see these news stories. They see the reoffenders that are constantly being left back out on the street. And what do they tell us when criminals constantly or reoffenders are left back on the street? Do they usually become upstanding citizens? No, they reoffend. It's basic logic. You have seen this over the course of history. People that are allowed to offend will reoffend. People that are allowed to do criminal activities to other people will continuously do criminal activities until they're forced to stop. No one's going to come out and say, oh, maybe I should be a better person. Like, that's not happening. And to verify that, we're going to play cut two. You got to check out this story out of North Carolina. Let's play it.
5-year-old being stabbed multiple times here in Pineville. We have some new video to show you this morning. I want to go to that right now just to see exactly what is going to be looking like out here. We also know the name of the father as well. His name is Shahazakil Khalid Escalez. Now, there's actually two scenes this morning. I want to clarify what's going on here. There's actually two scenes involved with this. The first one being here at the apartment where this stabbing happened, and the other one being actually where they located the suspect, the father. The police chief tells me this morning that the father actually ran from the scene after the situation happened, after he allegedly stabbed his own child. Now, we do know that father is in custody as of right now and is charged with murder. The chief says that boy's mother called officers this morning just after midnight, and when officers arrived, they found the boy stabbed multiple times and rushed him to the hospital. Sadly, just to report this morning, there is blood literally all over the scene out here in this parking lot, also on the steps leading to this apartment. Now, Pineville Police Chief Corey Copley says that his officers did everything they could to save the child's life.
Yeah, it's very tragic. I mean, when you're met in the parking lot with something like that immediately before you can get out of your patrol car and you have to render first aid, you got to put your emotions aside and do the good work that you're trained to do. Immediately, those officers' actions took over, and they put the child in the back seat of the police car with another officer and drove him straight to the hospital. Didn't wait around or anything. We just wanted to get that child the best care possible as soon as possible.
And we're also learning this morning that another child and the mom was inside the home at that time. We're learning that they are okay this morning. They were not injured in this situation. We're also learning from the police chief as well that they've been called to this home before for a domestic issue.
So, yeah, 5-year-old little boy stabbed to death by his father in their home. That was a repeat offender that was in and out of jail over 10 times. The justice system is failing at all ends. It is constantly allowing the offenders to reoffend. There is no punishment in the justice system unless you're an average American. If you're an average American that uncovers election fraud, or you're an average American that may say an offensive word, we're going to get into that too in a little bit, because we got people getting tickets in Texas for offensive speech. Then there's accountability. There's no accountability if you rape children. There's no accountability if you murder somebody. There's no accountability if you commit domestic violence. There's no accountability if you commit sexual assault. And the bar has been set by our Department of Justice. When no one gets arrested from the Epstein files, the bar is set. When judges are not held accountable for violating federal law, the bar is set. And it's just the rest of us waiting to catch up to it. And you're gonna check this story out in New York City. I came across this story this morning. I had to double check to make sure this story was real. But check this story out. This is from the New York Post, and we're gonna put it up here on the screen for you. But in New York, an arrested teen creep allegedly sexually abused woman with 4 kids on New York City subway, only to be cut loose. So what happened here in this article? Well, let's take a look, shall we? A teen creep has been nabbed for sexually abusing a woman riding a Manhattan train with 4 kids and then brushing off the sick act as "my bad," only to be cut loose by a judge shortly after his arrest, prosecutor and sources said. Ari Stein, 18, allegedly reached into the 30-year-old victim's underwear, placed 2 fingers inside her private area as he stood behind her on board an Uptown R train approaching 28th Street in Chelsea around 3 p.m. on June 28th, according to cops and a criminal complaint. My bad. Didn't know you were going to react that way, Stein, who hails from Washington, D.C., and does not know the victim, allegedly told her after the disturbing act, according to the sources. And look at that picture. Look at that guy. Straight in time. I'm gonna do this. And no, what are you doing? Why are you acting? You can't. What do you mean? You're not okay with me doing this on the train? What's the matter with you? The victim, who sources say was traveling with 4 kids ranging in age from 7 to 11, was taken to a local hospital for observation, police and prosecutors said. It was not immediately clear whether the kids are her biological children. Not sure why that's necessary there. Stein initially fled the scene, but surrendered to cops just after 7 a.m. Wednesday, police said. He was charged with sexual abuse, aggravated sexual abuse, forcible touching, and endangering the welfare of a child, prosecutors said. So he has all those charges. Let's hear those charges again. He's charged with sexual abuse, aggravated sexual abuse, forcible touching, and endangering the welfare of a child. To me, those are 4 major crimes. But he was released on his own recognizance during his Wednesday arraignment in Manhattan criminal court over prosecutors' request that he be held on $5,000 bail or $10,000 bond. He has no previous arrest in the Big Apple, cop said. So he is forcibly putting fingers inside a woman on the train, and a judge lets this piece of trash back out onto the community, released on his own recognizance. This is what goes on in America. This is what goes on in deep blue cities. This is what's going to go on in all places across this country over time because of the encroachment of what's going from the left, the liberals on the left, the progressives on the left, the communists on the left, right? They have hijacked the courts. They're taking over cities. They're taking over state municipalities. They're taking over positions of federal government power. No one's being held accountable. I would really love to bring back McCarthy hearings. I really believe we need to bring back the age of McCarthyism here in America. Like, if you're doing un-American activities, if you're promoting this DEI, this social justice bullshit that is basically communism, just verbiage changed. It's all communism. It is all designed this way, right? But just sprucing up the language a little bit. They got a little bit better with the vernacular, but it's all the same. And if no one's going to do anything about it, eventually the encroachment is going to become so much that there will be nothing left to be done. And our political leaders are the ones that are in charge, are the ones that have sold us out to this. They are not standing in the way because they believe they will be untouched. They will believe they will be left alone. But if they study history, eventually they too will get beaten with the stick. So the one thing that we got that everyone else did not have when this bullshit was going on is the right to bear arms. And that is the one saving grace we have in this country. Our founding fathers were smart enough to put that in as amendment number 2. Because they know we need to defend ourselves from an overreaching government. And that's exactly where we are. Our government is completely overreaching on our rights. Our judges don't defend our rights. So the only thing left for us to defend ourselves is to be armed when it comes to us. I'm not saying go around bucking shots here and there. No. But the main premise is that because we have the ability to be armed for ourselves, the government cannot and will not take that final step just yet. But they're building toward that pressure point. Right? If you look what's going on in Europe now, see, this is the other part. This is the other crazy part about the left. I have family members that we don't align politically, but we get along when we see each other and talk. Couple members recently went over to Ireland. And they spoke to not me about what they saw over there, but their husband, who, me and him get along pretty well. And I'm like, hey, Billy, they see the stuff over there in Ireland, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about because if you know what's going on in Ireland if you're tuned in. So I'm like, hey, Billy, hey, what'd they say about what they saw over in Ireland? And he got, Pat, oh, no, mm-mm. See nothing, speak nothing. See nothing, speak nothing. So they basically went over to Ireland and they came back and said, no, there's no Muslim problem over here. No, the people of Ireland, there's nothing. The people of Ireland are not uprising. There's no angry Irish mobs over there. There's no burning of St. Patrick's Church. And none of that happened over there. It's like, what? You guys went there and you're telling with a straight face that you all Irish are happy with what's going on there. They're not, but they've been sold out by their government long ago. Right? They've been sold out by their government long ago. Europe is ahead of us in this learning curve. Right? Like Europe is, I say, at least 3 to 5 years ahead of us to where we're going if we don't reverse course. And that's the thing, is we don't seem to have course that's being reversed here in America on any fronts, whether it's immigration, whether it's your First Amendment rights, your Second Amendment rights, freedom of the press, freedom of religion, right? I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I see people being threatened to be ticketed on the streets because they have offensive speech. This is America. We were founded on the right to be offensive. Like, that's the reality. And if you don't like what somebody has to say, go about your business and walk away from it. You don't have to engage. And if someone has something to say that hurts your feelings, it is what it is. That's the price of freedom. The price of freedom is to get your feelings hurt when someone has something to say. And then you have the right to say something back to hurt their feelings. Oh, no, I'm a kind person. I don't want to do that. No, you're not going to do that, but you're going to support 30 million illegals coming in, and then some of those illegals are going to kill Americans, and those families are going to be wrecked, but you're okay with that. Yeah, because I didn't see it or I didn't say anything about it. So, of course, they're going to be okay with it, right? That's lefty logic. But this article at New York City just drove me mad that this 18-year-old punk knew exactly what he was doing to this young lady, and a judge is like, yeah, no harm, no foul. You didn't sexually abuse her on the subway car. You didn't sexually abuse her in front of her 4 children. You don't have to pay to get out of jail. Here is your get out of jail free card, young sir. Here you go. Have a good day. Have a good day. Imagine what that woman feels like, that mother of 4 that's riding on the train, what she feels like being victimized like that on the train, and then the judicial system, who is supposed to protect people, lets the offender walk out of court free of charge. It makes me sick. It makes me so sick. And you know what? Being off for a couple of days and detaching from social media, you don't see these things a whole lot if you're not looking for them. Right? If you're not in tune on your phone, or if you're not in tune on X, going to the accounts to see what's going on in the world, and you just detract from it, you'll never know. And honestly, that's what a lot of Americans do. They don't go into this to see this, right? People are on their phones looking at fantasy football, fantasy baseball, the World Cup, porn, right? They're looking at all these other things that keep them distracted, so they don't have to see the hard-hitting reality in front of their face every day, because the hard-hitting reality in your face every day is that this shit sucks. It sucks that this happened to a young lady on a train. It sucks that a judge thinks it's okay that it happened to a lady on a train. Oh, he has done nothing wrong before? Get out of jail free card. Just like the judge that let the immigrant walk out. Oh, she did nothing wrong. She had an upstanding $5,000 fine. No, you could have spent 5 years in jail. But we're not going to send a message on you because we don't want a message being sent on you. Just like they're not sending a message to this 18-year-old punk, because the message coming out of New York City is it's okay to sexually assault women on the train. It's all good. It is all good. And the judges are doing nothing to protect average Americans. And it goes all the way back to a couple of weeks ago with the Supreme Court ruling about birthright citizenship. That ruling really pissed me off. We all know that that was not intended for illegal immigrants to come over to America to drop and have babies and then to abuse our system. Everyone knows that is not the purpose of that amendment, but now that's what that amendment has been basically ruled on by the Supreme Court of the United States. They have single-handedly busted open our country. And it's not just to voting. No, we're going to be giving birth to people that hate this country, and then they'll be allowed to bring their families in here that hate this country to build more enclaves of people that hate this country. And this is being done by the Supreme Court of the United States. Amy Coney Barrett, huge sellout. John Roberts sellout. And they side with the 3 retards, the 3 special ed kids on the Supreme Court on this one. Absolutely amazing. But you got to figure out a way to fight this because there is a lot of advertisements now going up about birthright citizenship, birthright tourism here in America. Where, like, what other country has billboards outside their borders and actually inside their borders saying, hey, come have your babies here to illegal people? What other country does that other than America? And that doesn't tell you how screwed up we actually are. I don't know what is. But let's play cut 4 and see what Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is revealing about birthright tourism in Texas.
Billboards. You can pay $3,950 if you want to have birth naturally, make your child a U.S. citizen.
Are you kidding?
Your foreign board C-section, $5,525. I spoke with Ken Paxton on this, and he showed me pictures where there are houses in Texas that look residential. So it could be your neighbor's house, and you go inside the house, and there are rows of bassinets where Chinese women are coming, giving birth to a child, then going back to the Chinese Communist Party, educating their child there, and they have U.S. citizenship, which could amount to more than 1 million new voters in this country over time.
Only a stupid nation would allow this to happen. They also have a website, havemybabyintexas.com. By the way, this big border advertisement right there is miles away from the border. So their audience are people that are crossing back and forth. And by the way, if you think it's just Mexicans no, that's just a checkpoint right there. People are traveling from all across the world to come to Mexico to go pregnant. They could have their baby here in the state of Texas. And, you know, as a result of that, their kids are going to be American citizens. Congress has to codify this law.
Yeah, Congress ain't going to do shit. And we all know that. And now the loophole has been clearly established. So now we're going to be feeling the real ramifications from this for decades to come. There's one side that possibly will do something on immigration reform, but the other side definitely won't. The other side wants complete open borders. So you think they're going to sit down and hash out what it means to have like birthright citizenship? Hell no. They're going to be like, nah, man, whoever gets born here is a citizen. And then their parents are allowed to be here. And then, you know, because they're going to miss their grandparents, we got to be able to bring them over. So everyone's going to be able to get in. And then once they get in, they're going to go for amnesty and then the right to vote. And this is really what's going to happen. This is really what's going to happen. And the Supreme Court of the United States is solely responsible for allowing this loophole to stand and actually broadcasting it and advertising it to the rest of the world. And yes, those billboards I did see were taken down. The website does not exist anymore, but it doesn't matter. It already started. Now the movement's built. The movement's out there, right? Come on in. Come on in. Come one, come all to mighty America. And mind you, this is a conservative Supreme Court, everyone. Right? Let that sink in again. This is a conservative Supreme Court. What the hell would it look like once we get liberals back in charge of the court system? It's going to be off the charts, right? So once again, it goes back to everyday Americans. You got no recourse really to look. It's frustrating. And yeah, we could be mad, we could be pissed off, we could want to build community with ourselves, which we do. People are building community with each other. But ultimately, to get that change to happen that everyone so desperately wants, and this is where my conversation, my boys came from, is like, dude, we haven't seen any arrests, so I don't give a shit anymore. And they're right. That's what it comes down to. There have been no real big arrests anywhere across the board. You can go through the Biden administration, Fauci, Mayorkas for busting the border open. There's no treason, sedition. There's nothing there that people could be charged with crimes. Nothing. We know Fauci's dirty as everything. We know it. Tulsi Gabbard put out that video right before she left office. Yet no one is arrested. Oh, I don't give a shit. Pardons don't mean nothing. He's not charged with a crime yet. How can you pardon someone if they haven't been charged with a crime yet? You can't test the pardon without the crime. But no one's doing anything. No one's doing anything. And that's why people, the average American, is frustrated. The average American is beaten down to no end because they don't see any end in sight. They just see the constant, I'm chasing my tail, trying to keep up. And then as they're trying to keep up, you see other slivers, right? Especially in New York. If you live in a blue city and a blue state, but you're a Republican living in those cities and states, you get bent over twice because you're getting hit so hard out of pocket for taxes, fees, regulatory nonsense all over the place, right? You're getting bent over there. But also at the same time, you're seeing illegals be held up and still being given everything for free in these blue cities and blue states. So you just look around like, yo, what? Are we for real here? And the average American's like, yo, I got to get out of here. But the average American, it finds it impossible to move because they don't have the money to move. So they got to sell their house. And then you got to hopefully make enough on the selling of your house to put a down payment on another one. And then you got to find a job, right? So just the whole thing becomes so cumbersome. People like, I give up. And that's what they want. And a lot of Americans are at that point where like, yeah, they can do whatever. I'm just going to try and take care of my family best I can, because life has become just so hard and so detailed and so difficult that it becomes a reality. And then you see criminals be re-released. You see illegals get more than everyday Americans or veterans. You see LGBTQ get more recognition than our veterans that give us this freedom. You know, like when I was home, I went to Calverton National Cemetery. I have my grandparents buried out there and my father's buried out there. And I went last summer and I went again this summer. Before that, it was a long time since I went before. And I went to Calverton National Cemetery 2 days ago before we drove up here. And there's just so many graves. There's just so many people that were willing to put their lives on the line to go fight for this country. I just looked around and there's plots everywhere. Numbers up to 75, 76 plots starting at 1. You got thousands in them, right? It's just massive. It goes on forever. And they keep the grounds beautiful. The tombstones are beautiful. But it was a reminder that, my Lord, so many people just from Long Island love this country. And we have national cemeteries all over this country. Just seeing the sheer volume and just putting it into perspective, just like, wow, each one of these is a person that believed putting on the uniform to go fight for this country was an honor. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to honoring this country and bringing that life back. And the belief that this country is the best and it offers so much opportunity. But at the end of the day, we do need some changes on the levels above us at the state and federal levels, no matter where you are, Colorado, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Texas, right? You need some powers in government to do what's right, to open up the river valley to the rest of us peasants. They do. You got to stop importing third world workers. You got to stop importing third world workers to do high-tech jobs that they're not qualified to do. So they instead not do the high-tech jobs. They take the lower-level entry jobs that our college grads are ready to but they get ixnayed because of the visa program. You know? And you bring in other ones to work 7-Elevens. And you bring in others to run scams, all of which hurt Americans, take away from the earning power of Americans. That's why the cost to buy homes are high. You've brought more people into this country and then given them money to buy homes and rent money with. What do you think is going to happen to the average American that's not getting anything from you? They're going to get priced out of the market. They're going to get treated like shit. They get tired of feeling this certain way, right? And then if you think that stuff's not enough, we're going to play these two cuts pretty much back to back. Something came out of Fort Worth, Texas recently, and it has to do with your free speech. Now, I don't like a lot of things what people have to say. I disagree with a lot of things people have to say, but you know what? I'm glad they can say what they're saying. That's how I feel. Even on the left, those DEI hires, those Ron Garcia E. Ortiz's, those clowns that preach all this diversity, equity, inclusion stuff. I know they're half retarded. I know they're brain dead, but I'm glad they can still say whatever it is they want to say, because at the end of the day, if they're allowed to speak, I am allowed to speak. That's the premise of America. That's the premise of the First Amendment. But these assholes on the left, these Ron Garcia, E. Ortizes, the ones who say me being a proud American has racist undertones, all at the same time he promotes Viva la Raza, long live Mexican culture, while here in America, what is he promoting there? What is he promoting there? Is there no racist undertones there, Ronnie boy? But on their side, it's all fair game. They can say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. On our side, if we say what we want and do what we want, then we have to deal with law enforcement, apparently. And this is coming out of Fort Worth, Texas. You hear that? Fort Worth, Texas. Red state. Let's play cut 5.
That ordinance means like music, not talking. If someone is offended by your talking, then we have a problem.
That is a constitutional violation of our rights. If you shut us down,
no. If they are offended by your speech, okay, then I'll write you this ticket, and then we'll go from there.
Wait, you're going to take us for offensive speech?
Yes, absolutely.
Are you serious?
Speech. You're going to cite us for offensive
it's called disorderly conduct.
That's,
no.
No. Disorderly conduct has to be accompanied by conduct.
This is the conduct
I'm
that
a
you're
retired
doing.
police officer myself.
For who?
26 years, federal law enforcement.
So it's federal. So this has nothing to do with local.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with local.
Yeah. Well,
do whatever y'all think that you can do.
Whatever it says 80
whatever we
decibels.
think. Wow.
It says 80 decibels.
Since y'all know the law so well, I'm not going to let y'all do
So I just want to clarify. If anything is said that's offensive, you're going to write a ticket?
If someone complains that your language or what you're saying is offensive,
Pretty loud.
So
Did you hear that? If somebody complains about what you're saying, then it's offensive. America's getting turned on its head. Our speech is meant to be offensive. Honestly, our speech is meant to be offensive. Okay? Because the truth hurts. You don't sugarcoat truth. You say it how it is. And then in the free speech market, you allow the best ideas to hash them out. You allow the words to be exchanged. You allow the feelings to be hurt. Because feelings should not dictate society. Facts and logic need to dictate society. We need to get back to that defining line where something is factual and logically true, therefore it is the correct answer, needs to come back to form. I read something that back in ancient Persia, before something was considered a good idea, men had to debate the idea sober and then had to debate the idea drunk. And then if the idea sounded great on both sides, then it was a really good idea. I actually agree with that. If you could debate a principle both drunk and sober and stand on it and not waver, then that's a great principle and that should be something you stand on. And that's something we should actually take into account here in America. Because if you could drunk debate and sober debate open borders, love to see it. Love to see it if you could stand on your head and debate that one. So this female cop's talking about issuing a ticket to a pastor and a retired officer because their speech may be considered offensive. So if someone's offended by saying God is good or all power to God, if a Muslim is offended by that, they could get a ticket written to them. Now, ain't that a bitch? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Well, let's play this follow-up cut. This is a second officer on the scene. Let's play cut 6.
To be where you want to be.
Well, can you tell her too that she can't cite us for speech is offensive because she threatened to cite us if we have offensive speech?
It depends on what you're saying, who's offended.
So if I say homosexuality is a sin.
So free speech does not include the...
no threats.
If you make fun of somebody, if you call them certain words and they feel offended by that, unfortunately, that is the part of the...
So if I call somebody, and I'm just saying this for clarification, if I say you're a faggot and they get offended, you're going to cite me.
That is a Class C ticket, unfortunately. I'm not the one that makes the rules, but that's the way they tell us.
I just wanted to get that on video for my...
I'm just trying to say it's very vague on what it is.
Yes, it is.
If feels offended, I can't do much about it other than my job. Right?
And we understand that. We know you got this, you got to do what you're... I get that whole...
I want you to make sure you all can be where you need to be. I want you to be able to exercise those freedoms. Right?
And that's what the courts are for.
Not
your fault. It's not your fault. And we understand that's no animus towards you.
So did you hear that? That guy actually asked if I call someone a faggot. He's like, yeah, it's a Class C ticket. So they are taking your rights away from saying whatever it is you want to say. If you want to call someone a name, you want to call someone that, nope, can't do it anymore. Nope, nope. This is America. You can still do that. Not saying it's right or wrong, but the premise is once you start limiting that speech, what else can start get limited? And they start with the, oh, if someone finds this offensive. Well, see, that problem is when you're a tough son of a bitch, when you're an American, you don't find anything offensive, right? The only people that find shit offensive are liberal pussies and third world rejects that come to this country that cry victim and then demand you follow their culture or you're a racist, right? Like that's what's going on in America. And you can't defeat these people with playing nice. You can't defeat them with shackles on your First Amendment rights. And that's why they're going after the First Amendment, to shackle our voices, to confine the arena that we could use to fight. That's what they're doing all this for, to stoke fear into Americans. I say, screw that shit. Still speak your mind. That guy's like, oh, well, the court, well, he may lose in the courts, let's be honest, but he needs to stand on principle regardless. This is America. You have a fundamental right to say what you think. Now, if you're saying you're going to kill somebody or do something violent to someone, that's crossing the line. We all agree on that, right? It's like shouting bomb in a movie theater type shit. But if you want to call someone a faggot and yell someone, hey, you're a faggot, that's an American right. I don't agree with it, but it's an American right. Just like someone can call me a cracker. I don't agree with it, but it's their right. You just tune out the ignorance, right? But other parts of it, right? Freedom of speech. Let's say you get called into a work training and asked how do you identify, and then you give them the honest answer of how you identify, and then they fire you. See, that's not how you do have First Amendment protections there, right? Because then that's going to be basically the SS. And I firmly believe that. That's why I'm waiting for the 10th Circuit to rule on my case. I really, truly believe the 10th Circuit even believes that you cannot invite someone to speak and then hold that against them. We're not there yet. The left has not taken over everything yet where that could be legal. At least I hope not. But that's what they are. If you hurt their feelings, you deserve a ticket. But they could hurt your feelings. They could kill your family, and they get to walk out of jail scot-free because it's in the political gain of their side. So they win at all costs. But you get a Class E ticket in Fort Worth, Texas, if you call someone a faggot, according to this cop. And if you make anyone feel offended by what you say, you can get a Class E ticket in Fort Worth, Texas. Wowzers. So they are really shackling down the freedom of speech in Fort Worth, Texas. I wonder if that same then applies to Muslims telling Americans you must obey Sharia law. Because if an American feels threatened by that, wouldn't that mean then that Muslim needs to be ticketed for that speech? Just logic, just asking questions, just logic based. I know that may be hard for some people, but, logic still needs to be pointed out and still needs to be discussed. Because that's where that's one of the few things we got left is the ability to use our brain and mouths to articulate our thoughts. The moment they start restricting our mouths, our brains become useless. Our mouth is the pathway. Our mind is where everything happens. The mouth is the pathway to that information. And they want to shackle the mouths because they are looking to carry out a very specific political agenda against us and the principles of America and the principles of Christianity, which are tied together. America is a Christian nation, by the way. Christian nation. Not Judeo-Christian, but it's a Christian nation that allowed Jews to settle here, that allowed all different religions to settle here. But it was founded on Christian principles. Look at our currency. Look what in God we trust. Doesn't say in Yahweh we trust. In God we trust. We need to refocus on that as a nation, is to return to God, return into spirituality, return to morality. Because there's a lot of garbage that has eroded away at our American soul and has eroded Americans' souls as well. We need to bring all this back. We need to bring back what it was like way long ago, before social media. Let's start there. Let's go back 2006, 2007, pre-social media. And then if you don't think the absurdity is crazy enough, have you guys heard what Mexico's president's looking to do? I don't know if you guys have heard. Before I put this up, I want to look in the chat. Has anyone seen what Texas is looking to sue America over? I just want to see if you guys could put that into anyone see in the chat. Does anyone has noticed what Mexico wants to sue America over? All right, we're going to put it up. Hey, let's put up this post, man. The president of Mexico has announced that she wants to pursue legal action against the Trump administration after an ICE agent shot a Mexican national illegal alien who tried to run over agents with his car. So the Jewish president of Mexico wants to sue the Trump administration over this. Should we just boomerang back and sue Mexico over every angel family we have in America? That every criminal illegal alien that passed through Mexico into America and then killed an American citizen? Should we now hold that Mexican government responsible for that? Because if she wants to play this game, I'm on board. They should have been held responsible for that anyway, but she's really pushing this button on this one. I think we really need to evaluate this. Because if you're going to pursue over this, how about the thousands of American families that have been impacted over the last 6 years, specifically over criminal illegal aliens that passed through the Mexican-U.S. border that came here, the trafficking of drugs, the trafficking of children, fentanyl overdoses. Then let's not forget the rape and murders of American citizens that happen pretty much on the daily that the news does not cover because it's bad for optics. So the Jewish president of Mexico really thinks she has a bold move, going to sue the Trump administration because a criminal illegal alien from Mexico was shot and killed by ICE because they tried to run over an ICE agent with their car. Once again, the absurdity just never stops. The absurdity never stops. And the average American's not paying attention to these stories. They're not seeing this. But if you're tuned into it and you're seeing what's going on, then you're like, this bitch is going to sue America over this garbage? Yeah, okay. She's just mad at America because the money that's coming back to Mexico from her citizen, from her illegals that came over here is dwindling less and less each month. Right? The repatriate money, the repatriation of money back to Mexico from illegals here, going back to family members, it's getting cut off less and less each month. Right? So she's getting a little frustrated. She's getting a little angry because it's showing the weaknesses of the Mexican government. So she's going to want to do something to President Trump now. So she's going to drum up this PR. I'm going to slap the loot. And I can't wait to see if a federal judge actually gives her standing. If a federal judge gives this piece of trash standing with this case, and we didn't get standing in 2020 for election fraud, that should tell you everything else you need to know. That should tell you everything else you need to know. Oof. You know, it wasn't justified. The illegal alien wasn't trying to hit ICE agents with their car, so they didn't just shoot them. Doesn't matter. Nope. You need to pay this person and their family millions of dollars because they would be alive if you didn't kill them. Oh, well, you should have kept them in your country. No, that's irrelevant. What are you talking about? No. That's irrelevant. You need to pay us, right? And it's just like trying to be a cartel shakedown. Logic. And let's talk about logic, shall we? Let's take a look at this unhinged woman working for Contra Costa County in California. She plays the ultimate card of the left, the race card. Let's play cut 8.
Be reporting this psycho.
You're a grown man. I'm a county worker. I work with children, and you're harassing. You're a grown.
Oh my God, those poor children. Those poor children.
Yeah, a white man.
What did I do to harass you?
A woman of color.
No, why would I call them?
Because you get kicks out of harassing women of color. Yes.
Is that what you are?
Yeah. What I am.
You give women of color a bad name. Yeah.
This is what white men do in America.
Notice the lack.
Because their wives don't even want to f them, so they get kicks out of doing this shit.
How's your husband doing?
I don't need one.
I know. I'm sure you believe that. And they harass them.
Racism, right here.
And bring it up.
Trump's America looks like right there. Look at his face.
That's me. Yeah.
Look at his face.
I'm the real.
Look at that man's face.
Sad.
Trump's America.
This is sad.
That's why you're harassing me because of my race.
I'm just driving along. This is who the county hires. Remember this number. I'm going to know what she's talking about.
Harassing me in the streets of Walnut Creek.
Apparently it's illegal to do what I'm...
You're racist.
You're psycho following
You're
me.
harassing a county worker.
The county is making a horrible mistake.
I do work with law enforcement.
Okay, good. We're good. So does what you're saying sound kind of racist?
No.
Why are you bringing race into this?
Description.
Why are you bringing race into this?
Because it is.
So yeah, just another day, another dollar, another lefty lunatic with a government job thinking she could act and behave any which way because there's never any accountability for them. Yeah. And then she comes out and, oh, race card, race card. What part in any part of that video was that man saying anything racist or close to being racist? And I understand it's his cut clips and all that, but I haven't seen anything from her side. She didn't even post that video. I haven't come across her posting, right? And if he was being racist, you know that video of hers would be all over the place because she would need to get it out there. Oh, I was right. He was racist. No, but that's all what they do. Right? They use those dog whistles. You're a racist, Islamophobe, transphobe, gayphobe, fagphobe, this, that, the DEI phobe, equity phobe. No. This guy was just calling the shot. And then she's like, oh, Trump America, look at this white guy right here. But that's not racist, right? That's all acceptable language. And she is very angry in that. She's very flustered because there is no factual basis for her to call him a racist. So what do? They resort to emotion. They result to the name calling. They result to the deflecting because they can't actually hold an honest conversation or an honest debate. Man, I hope we get this radio network going and get some real talking going on with left and right to see if liberals would actually sit down and debate anyone on the right, because I seriously doubt they can't. They literally can't do it. Because it'll take about 30 seconds to 45 seconds, I believe, before meltdown begins, and then a full minute and a half before they're off a cliff. Because there's only so much they could take before there's only once you get past 2 or 3 lines out of a left, it's all nonsense, right? They get to 2 or 3 talking points, get their little cheap shot in, and then it just withers away. And if you don't believe me, we're going to play this cut for you. This is another liberal woman who just couldn't comprehend what she was actually saying about why she doesn't support Trump, but actually Trump actually does what she's looking for. Let's play cut 9.
He also has a gay secretary of.
Why not? What? But you're wearing MAGA red.
We should make America great again.
Yes, we should.
Why? Why do you support Trump?
Because we need to make America great again.
Amen.
She does not stand with Trump at all.
But why?
Because I have a gay child and I have 2 daughters.
Yeah. So Donald Trump actually has worked with Rick Grinnell to decriminalize homosexuality throughout the world. He also has a gay secretary of the Treasury.
No, he does not.
No, he does not. Yes, he does. Go look up the Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent. He is gay.
What?
Go look up the Secretary of the Treasury. I want you to Google it.
I can't believe you would like that. Someone that liked, he's a.
Wow.
13 counts.
Where, like who?
It's been proven.
Who?
Out with this girl.
So there you go. She has 2 daughters, and she has a gay family member. So Trump's working to decriminalize being gay around the world, and she can't handle it. See, but this is being low frequency, not intelligent, believing your talking points, listening to your nonsense on CNN all the time, right? And then poof, free speech got that lady to short circuit a little bit. Zzz, she got zapped. She may actually wake up tomorrow feeling kind of different and maybe opening up to maybe changing some perceptions and learning a thing or two, right? But that's what it takes. It takes day-to-day interactions like that to maybe short circuit somebody to wake them up to become Maybe not a half a retard, but maybe a quarter retard, or maybe someone with some sense, right? But she had no idea that Trump was trying to decriminalize being gay around the world, had no idea they had a gay member in his cabinet because she did not take the time to know that. She took the time to see what they say on The View about Trump, and then she goes about it, right? The useful idiot shock, like she's one of those useful idiots, but maybe not anymore. Maybe not anymore. And that's why it's always important to try and have those conversations when you can. 9 times out of 10, they may turn out like shit, but that one, you may get a winner. And if you do that day after day, time after time, you may flip a couple of people. It took me years to wear down my best friend. But, it took me years to do that. But you may get someone in the grocery store one day. Just say a little quick 2-liner to them. Man, why is this happening? Why is that happening? Right? Just say a couple of 2-liners that actually direct them to the right answer. Or just hit them with the basic facts. And then before we go, you could see behind me, I definitely have some storm moving in. I do hear the thunder, but before we go, I do want to play our weekly DSA clip, our Democratic Socialists of America clip. So I want to play this. Let's play A10.
And, we have a unique responsibility to act from the heart of empire, the belly of the beast. The most important thing that we can do is take that empire down from within.
Our role ultimately is to facilitate our own empire's failure in ways that we can, ultimately to overthrow our own empire.
U.S. imperialism is not a thing that can be reformed away. It has to be overthrown through revolutionary struggle.
And to build a mass movement that can use the leverage of workers to hit the kill switch on American imperialism here within the American empire.
There you go. That's our weekly DSA announcement. They're in the heart of the beast. They want to destroy the heart of the beast. They want to overthrow the heart of the beast. Yeah, they mince no words. I find it important that we play this and talk about it all every chance we get. They've been unmasked. They know where they stand. The people of America need to be aware. And the average day American, the ones that aren't tuned into this, they need to start getting some learning on. I'm laughing at it because I'm thinking about my time down on Long Island, just how busy everyone is. And my friends are educated and they're busy and they're kind of on the cusp of this. They understand the DSA. They know Mamdani. They know the Democratic Socialist of America, right? They get that. But the other hundreds and thousands of people that are not tuned into what DSA is actually trying to do and are supporting it, they're going to get kicked in the nuts one day. And I believe sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's the broken scale today. That's the average everyday American right here, realizing that there's a lot of garbage going on. You got to take the small victories when you can get them, but you also got to take the time to spend time with your family and your friends when you can, and don't be lost in the minutia of all this, because there's only so much you can control. At the end of the day, there's only so much there is that we can control. So put your energy where it matters most. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go spend some time with my family now. We had a cousin that just drove up from Long Island, 7-hour drive. She just came up here with her 8-month-old baby. We're going to go see little baby Anthony in a little bit. But yeah, you just got to control what you control. Enjoy the peaceful, quiet times with family when you can. Cherish those, because they don't come along too often. And that's what I'm about to go do. So before I do that, I'm going to pray us out. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, thank you for this tremendous opportunity to sit up here today and to still connect with the people watching Untamed. Thank you, Lord, for my family that's up here, that we're able to spend some time together and have some peace during this time. We haven't had peace together as a family in a long time. So thank you, Lord, for allowing us to have some peace together and just enjoy each other's company, even though it's very tight quarters up here at the lake. Thank you, Lord, for that. Thank you, Lord, for allowing everyone to travel safely and to get here. Dear Lord, please give wisdom and courage to our leaders in charge to start making the right decisions and pull the levers of power to start changing the direction of this country, Lord. I would love this country to be left to my child the way I received it. So, Lord, I ask you to give all those the strength and courage to do what they can to start making these little incremental changes that will allow the entire ship to be turned. And dear Lord, thank you for the Stewart's ice cream shop about 20 minutes away. I appreciate that new one being built instead of going an extra 20. That 20 minutes, it's a long 20 minutes up here in Watertown. But I thank you for that, Lord, also. Little victories. Thank you all for joining us today. I do see that the sun is piping out from the right, but behind me I got dark clouds and rumbling, so I don't know what I'm going to get hit with. I do see white caps on the lake. But Lord, thank you for just allowing me to be in your presence in nature today. Thank you for all that. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Love you, Grandma, Grandpa, Dad, thank your fathers, your spirit. Amen. Miss you guys. Oof. And there it is. There's the cool breeze now. So yeah, I'm gonna head in, see some family. Hopefully don't get rained on as I run across the one. I'm at a neighbor's house right now. But yeah, Joe should be with everyone tomorrow, and I will be in the background. So let's have a great afternoon, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great evening on the East Coast. And we'll see you tomorrow. Class dismissed.
Rise up, untamed, in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave